In this video, we're going to talk about the history of airdrops, looking at some of the examples and also thinking about what you can do to actually make money from airdrops and how much you can make. I think this will be very instructive. We have this new diagram dashboard from Crypto, who's the best when it comes to doing different dashboards on Dune, and I'm going to cover that in this video. Yeah, I think it's very informative because it's worth thinking about the past when you are looking into the airdrops, and 2024 is definitely the year of airdrops. You can make a lot of money from just a little bit, or even more if you have more money. Because some of the projects actually value your liquidity when it comes to staking, when it comes to providing liquidity. So we're going to have a look at that. Also, there's a new narrative coming with NFT airdrops, but actually not so new. We already have that when it comes to Bored Ape Yacht Club. If you hold an ape, you would get, for example, ApeCoin, which you could sold for a lot of things. So this is what we're going to go through. So first of all, there are different tiers. Basically in this dashboard, Crypto did 3 tiers, 50 projects that did airdrops, and in each tier you have them listed by the total amount of airdrop. And here the leading, absolutely the top leader is Uniswap, that airdrop $6.4 billion. So that's amazing. When it comes to 220k participants, that's really massive. So the average airdrop per wallet was around $17,000. This is what you would get, and basically the minimum allocation was 400 uni. The maximal allocation was 201 million uni. Very big airdrop was also coming from ApeCoin, so that's 2022. When it comes to holding, you could hold, I think, one of the definitely Bored Ape Yacht Club. I think if you hold the Mutant, you could get ApeCoin as well, but also I think Kennels might gave you something, and there were around 30,000 recipients. That altogether, this is even bigger airdrop because that was like $3.5 billion, but only 30,000 recipients, so like 10 times less than actually recipients on Uniswap. So that was probably the most significant when it comes to the amount of airdrop to individual holders. So that was the biggest one. And third on the list, we have Jupiter, which is a very new one, January 2024, $2.7 billion airdrop to almost 1 million recipients. So that's like the biggest number of recipients almost when it comes to tier 1 projects at the very least, because we have some other projects like Starknet doing airdrop to 1.3 million users, but this is also massive, and you get around 200 tokens from Jupiter, which is a pretty nice airdrop altogether. So this is pretty cool. And we're going to go after that. So if you can see on the list, most of the airdrops are from either Ethereum and L2s, and because that's the current narrative also, there are different L2s that will probably airdrop. So in this year, if you're looking at the potential airdrops, then we're going to go with the tool on Frog. You're probably looking into things like, for example, ZK Sync, Layer 0 for Cross Chain, Linea. We have Mode Network, Fuel Network, a couple of other things that are coming along the way, but also a bunch of things that are still in a testnet like Berachain, Monad. We have different exchanges as well. Aevo is doing right now the entire campaign where you can boost your airdrop by 10x just by trading and 10x volume. So this is a pretty cool one. And then we have different DeFi projects if you look. So you have to borrow and lend. This is basically the premise of Zero Land, but also things that are doing that are Camino, MarginFi, and a bunch of other projects. There are also outliers, like for example Parcel, which is a DEX for real estate on Solana, but this is very cool one. And also we have different staking solutions that might airdrop as well, like Soulblaze on Solana as well. But also there's the entire EigenLayer narrative with different projects within the EigenLayer that gives you point from MagPi to others. Also staking on Tia, Celestia, with liquid staking like Stride, Milky Way. So there's a bunch of categories, and this will dominate 2024. So how it leads to how it connects with the past. Let's have a look at actually what's being built here. So as you can see, in tier 1, though the smallest airdrop was actually from Optimism, but actually Optimism did like 3 rounds, and I think, or maybe 4 right now. So they started doing those rounds already in 2022, and they did their last round, I think, like a month ago or so. And then we have a bunch of tier 1 airdrops like Dimension, which is very recent, and they airdropped $600 million to 500,000 recipients, so that's pretty significant as well. We had Arbitrum, which was pretty large. Aptos, which was interesting because they still airdrop almost $500 million, but only to 120,000 participants. And probably G2 was the most exciting one and started this whole airdrop narrative because they have airdrop for $100 million to 13,000 recipients, which means that on average you would get quite a lot. That was even probably more comparing to ApeCoin, because when it comes to ApeCoin, you had to hold a Bored Ape Yacht Club, and if you paid for that, you paid something like 5-10 ETH or something, or even 20, depending on the time you were buying. So that was already significant. When it comes to Jito, you basically had to stake like 1 sol, maybe 2 sol to get already very sizable airdrop. And because they had so much money to airdrop and there were only few recipients, that was the perfect scenario. Of course, right now it's very hard to do. And the reason for that is basically all the airdrops are a little bit overfarmed, which doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, because generally speaking, it's still always sometimes free money when it comes to doing natural things. But I'm a fan of doing natural things you would do anyway. So if you, for example, bridging, just use the bridge that might have a potential airdrop. If you're bridging from between different chains, you can maybe do additional route and go through the chain like ZK Sync to basically probably hit another kind of airdrop. So you could do things like that, which are natural along the way, doesn't cost you much time or money, but you do them anyway, doing natural things anyway. I don't think like farming right now makes sense unless you really spend a lot of time on it and then try to farm all the projects, because there are many people that are trying to professionalize it right now, and it might be much harder. Now, going next to tier 2, as you can see, this is Starknet leading the way with $3 billion airdrop and 1.3 million people receiving the airdrop. There are a couple of others that are very interesting. So, for example, DYDX, which is a perp exchange. This is very similar to Aevo that is coming, Hyperliquid that is also coming. Of course, we don't know how much they will airdrop in the end, but this might be comparable to a certain extent. Aevo is, for example, doing amazing volume right now. So then we had ENS, Ethereum, name service, which airdrop basically almost $2 billion, same for Internet Computer in 2021. Then we had Bonk, which was very interesting. They airdropped also massive amounts of money along the way. And then we have 2 NFT projects, which was LuxRare and X2Y2, which were NFT marketplaces. They also airdrop to people that were trading NFTs. So again, this is for natural users. You wouldn't expect that. You were just trading NFTs and suddenly you got an airdrop. Then we have different DEX aggregators. So those are definitely very interesting. And usually when it comes to new chains, so for example, Blast that is coming, you should look at different exchanges. You can, of course, get after the blockchain, the particular blockchain airdrop, but the next best thing is having to look at different exchanges, bridges, exchanges for tokens, and exchanges, of course, for NFTs, NFT marketplaces. Here on the list, we also have Arkham Layer, Arkham Intelligence, which is one of the only here data aggregators and infrastructure play. They actually airdropped $19 million, which is still pretty cool, to 55,000 people. If you go to tier 3, there are still plenty of projects here that are doing various airdrops. Recent things, for example, Zeta Chain was happening. But we have a lot of things also, for example, Say was pretty recent and a bunch of other things. So this is airdrop history. We can go now by category. This is really cool as well. You can see that most of the airdrops here happening are in the category of decentralized exchanges. And then we have various blockchains and NFTs. So those are the top categories here, top 3 categories. So definitely going after different decentralized exchanges on new chains in particular might give you something. Of course, not the financial advice, nothing here is. Now, for the chain airdrops, here's the list of the top ones. Arbitrum, Aptos, Optimism, Starknet, Internet Computer say. Those are the chain airdrops, and usually the eligibility criteria was pretty much interesting, and this is something that you should always have in mind. Arbitrum is good for having this as a target because they did basically all of the things mentioned here, which means that you have to bridge funds into the chain, you have to conduct transactions during distinct months. So each month is different. You should at least have 2 or maybe 3 different months to actually qualify for an airdrop. Do at least couple of transactions. So this is also very interesting. You basically have to show that you're consistently coming back to a particular blockchain and doing various transactions. Super important. Now, interactions with different smart contracts, so that can be swapping on different exchanges, is important. Doing volume, that's always important. So for example, the volume is either by bridging, or you can do that by swapping. Even swapping to stable coins and back should be fine, but if you of course swap other coins, that will be even better. Having something holding in your wallet, usually it's a small amount, but still you have to have at least like $20 to qualify. This was what excluded a lot of people from Starknet because they did that. Sometimes it's minting something on a testnet, some kind of NFT, having something on Discord. So more and more projects doing that to fight against Sibils and different kind of bots. Delegated token, governance vote. So that's for staking. So Pive would be the example here. Probably they'll be doing some kind of an airdrop, or there'll be an airdrop coming from other participants, other projects, to people that are actually staking Pive and voting in a governance process, so that's interesting. And of course, high on-chain activity, participation in the testnet. So that's usually the criteria. For the DEXs, you can see that here we have Uniswap, Jupiter as being the top 2, but then we have Paraswap, Cow, Zigzag, and a bunch of others, which are very interesting. Usually the criteria for the DEXs are very similar. Is do some kind of a volume, provide LP, sometimes hold related NFT. There's an NFT related to particular exchanges, but usually just do enough trades, paid enough dollars in fees, and do enough of trades. So those are the most important ones in general. For NFT airdrops, it's usually hold a particular NFT. When it comes to collections like ApeCoin, we haven't seen much of those, but we probably will be seeing more when it comes to, for example, Pudgy Penguins. There is a speculation about Pudgy token at some point. But again, Pudgy Penguins are right now at 20 ETH. So there's a risk-reward ratio here that is pretty high, at least for me. Also, you have different NFT marketplaces. I don't think we will see more NFT marketplaces, but maybe on new chains you can look for those, especially when there's a new chain which is not an EVM, not Ethereum compatible. You usually have a new NFT marketplace, and they might do a token at some point. And usually the eligibility criteria for those is place enough bids, buy enough tokens, or list enough NFTs. So for example, the case here would be Tensor. Tensor on Solana is doing basically the same playbook like Blur, which is that they have different points, and there will be an airdrop coming to people that have enough points and basically are able to transfer those points into a real token that they can list and sell. So this is the Blur playbook here. Tensor is doing that, and probably other, and the Magic Eden is also coming into this direction as well. So if you're good when it comes to listing, trading NFTs, this might be for you. So there's the category of memes and social airdrops. So minting corresponding NFTs, basically governance voting and stuff like that. Here, can be usually anything, but some kind of participation in a token in the blockchain usually makes sense to qualify on those. And this is basically it. So when it comes to insights, we have talked about those. There's also a new category coming here, insights on selected past airdrops, but basically subscribe to my channel if you want to have more insights on different airdrops. I usually talk about what's coming, what you should expect, and what's happening currently when it comes to crypto airdrops. Here you have interesting stuff about Uniswap as well, and the different distributions and how much people were getting. So I think this is pretty cool. Altogether, this really shows that there are a couple of categories, but the main ones being new blockchains, new decentralized exchanges, and NFT related airdrops, either holding an NFT or trading on a new NFT marketplace. Those are the main ones. Those are the ones you should focus on. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.